The White House has appeared to walk back some of the elements of President Donald Trump's proposals to take control of Gaza, suggesting the resettlement of Palestinians would be temporary. But the reaction to the remarks has been swift, dividing politicians on Capitol Hill and drawing criticism from the United Nations.
We'll do a good job.
Another day, another executive order. Donald Trump aiming to ban transgender athletes from women's sports.
God bless you, Mr. President.
Leaving it to his aides to defend his proposal to dramatically reshape US policy in the Middle East.
President Trump is an outside-of-the-box thinker.
The White House sought to clarify the president's idea of taking control of Gaza.
But that does not mean boots on the ground in Gaza. It does not mean American taxpayers will be funding this effort. It means Donald Trump, who is the best deal maker on the planet, is going to strike a deal with our partners in the region.
Caroline Leavitt also appeared to walk back Donald Trump's suggestion of Palestinians being resettled permanently, a message echoed by the Secretary of State.
It was not meant as a hostile move. It was meant as I think, a very generous move, the offer to rebuild and to be in charge of the rebuilding.
The actual idea of allowing first Gazans who want to leave. I mean, what's wrong with that? They can leave, they can then come back, they can relocate and come back, but you have to rebuild Gaza.
Donald Trump is known for making provocative statements as a starting point for negotiations, as demonstrated in the recent political fight over tariffs on Canada and Mexico. But a day on from his bombshell announcement on Gaza, there's even more uncertainty over where this proposal could lead. Protesters in the United States marched against the idea, which has been met with outrage from Democrats, scepticism from some Republicans, and a warning from the United Nations.
In the search for solutions, we must not make the problem worse. It is vital to stay true to the bedrock of international law. It is essential to avoid any form of ethnic cleansing.
The Australian Prime Minister indicating he'll continue to sit out the debate.
Well, quite clearly the policy announced yesterday was a different one. I've said that I'm not going to respond to every statement every day that is made.
If we can see a plan which has peace and stability restored to the region, then would I support that? Yes, of course I would.
The opposition leader arguing Donald Trump should not be dismissed. Jade McMillan, ABC News, Washington.
Well, Donald Trump's proposal has been met with fierce opposition in Gaza, where Palestinians are determined to stay on their land. The idea is also being widely condemned by leaders in the Middle East, who say a two-state solution remains the only way forward. Middle East correspondent Matthew Dorham reports from Amman in Jordan.
Returning to what's left after 15 months of war. These residents of Gaza City only have the bare necessities to survive, but it's still home.
This project will fail. All the people would rather die in Gaza than leave.
We will say to Trump, to the Arab governments, to the Arabs before the Israelis, we remain steadfast on our land.
It's a show of defiance in the face of Donald Trump's proposal to permanently relocate them from the war-torn territory. Hamas officials accusing the US of adding fuel to the fire.
These statements reflect confusion and deep ignorance about Palestine and the region. Gaza is certainly not a common land and is not a property that can be bought and sold.
President Trump's idea does have some support over the border, from Israeli politicians arguing Gaza in its current state has no future.
It was amazing what we saw yesterday. I mean, Donald Trump in Washington, in fact, show us how you can draw a new Middle East, but this time a realistic Middle East.
Jordan's King Abdullah will travel to the White House next week and has already rejected any moves to annex land and displace Palestinians. More than half of his subjects are of Palestinian descent, with families spread across Jordan, the West Bank and Gaza.
Jordan considers this as a red line. It is something probably could be an existential threat for Jordan in that sense.
Donald Trump still has a significant lever he can pull.
More than $1.7 billion in US aid is poured into Jordanian coffers each and every year. And we've seen in recent days that the president is prepared to upend his country's foreign spending to meet his own priorities. In Jabalia, residents have to queue for water, cooking meals in the wreckage of their former homes. But they're vowing to stay put at any cost.
If we're going to die, then we will die on our sand.
Dying here is better. It's better than going anywhere else because you have nothing after losing your land, country and home.
With a fragile future looming, Palestinians are remaining as determined as ever. Matthew Doran, ABC News, Amman, Jordan.